July 16th, 2012, Monday. Behind Ryan's import and distribution in Salt Lake City, Utah, the last cargo truck of the day was being unloaded. Mr. Ryan, the owner, was talking to the driver who had just finished parking the back end of his truck into the warehouse. He then invited the driver into his office to look over some paperwork. This was a distraction, of course, to give his boys a chance to unload the truck. The oldest boy, Abraham, age 19, lifted stacks of boxes 3 times his weight and moved quickly across the floor. The youngest boy, Brian, age 13, controlled the forklift with his thoughts from a distance. But once the middle boy, Jake, started, all anyone could see was a blur. The 15-year-old moved so fast his older brother Abraham had to say, "Not so fast, or he'll get suspicious." Jake slowed down to where he could be seen and his words could be heard. "This guy was here 2 weeks ago and didn't say anything. He was just glad to be on his way," Jake said. "Whatever. Only move half the boxes. We'll get the rest." "You two are so slow," Jake mumbled and continued in a blur. Half the truck was unloaded, then Jake was gone. He walked out a few minutes later with instruction from his dad as to where everything was to be organized. He wanted the driver to leave so he could get everything done fast. Once the driver had left and the door was closed, Jake moved so fast no evidence of him could be found, except all the boxes were unloaded and sorted in seconds. The blur stopped quickly, and Jake was standing next to his dad. Jake was leaner than his dad and stood a few inches short of 6 feet, with green eyes. He kept his sandy-colored hair very short, so his speed couldn't mess it up. "Are we done for the day, Dad?" Jake asked. "We are. You get the short straw tonight," Dad said. Jake groaned. He knew what that meant. Someone had to stay at the warehouse until 7 at night in case the driver showed up ahead of schedule. "Can I at least zip over to the library before you guys go?" "I don't see why not," Dad said as Jake vanished. Mr. Ryan and his 2 other boys loaded up their things in the car and waited a few more minutes. Jake then reappeared with an armful of books. "I'd have been quicker, but I had to wait for the librarian to do the checkout," he said. "I'll see you at home at 7. Love you, Jake," his dad said. "Love you, Dad." Jake loved the man he called Dad, but he wasn't really his dad. Jake was adopted when he was very young, as were Brian and his youngest sister, Kate. Neither of them, nor his other 5 brothers and sisters, were related to him in any way. But they were great parents, kind, moral, giving, caring, nurturing, and best of all, his family was super. Everyone in his family was super except Mom. She was a near miss, and a smart one at that. Dad was a low-level super that helped out the city when in need. From burning buildings to cats stuck in trees, he was there. He wasn't one of these Heroes Union guys that lived at a swanky hall. Mr. Ryan had an old-fashioned secret identity and a business that paid his bills. Jake respected his work ethic. His family also adopted special needs kids, like Jake and his 2 other adopted siblings. To raise toddlers with superpowers, you needed to be a super parent. From homeschooling to working at the family business, his parents were always nearby and always there for him. Jake read every book he had from the library and was still waiting for 7 o'clock to come around when his dad called him. "Jake, clean up, lock up, and then come home early, okay?" his dad's voice said on the phone. "Okay," said Jake. Using his speed, he did his chores and was home very quick. On approaching his house, he could smell the grill being used in the backyard, and he headed straight there. As always, Jake stopped using his super speed just before walking into an area to make his entrance look normal. As he rounded the edge of his house, his family was all together, looking at him. "Surprise!" everyone yelled. Jake was quiet for a moment. He looked behind himself to see if someone else was there. "My birthday was 2 months ago," Jake said slowly, trying to get an idea of what was going on. His mom was coming forward to say something. In the seconds it took her to approach, he looked at each person's expressions and read the balloons that said congratulations on them. In this kind of situation before, he searched the house for clues before anyone could notice he was even gone. But he knew how upset it made people to ruin their surprises, so he forced himself to wait for her to speak. "We received a letter from a courier for you today, and your father made the calls to ensure its authenticity. You have been extended an invitation to attend the Alpha Academy," she said with pride. "I thought I was too old to attend Alpha," his mind looking for a rhyme or reason to the invitation. "Son, it's true. I'll give you more details later. Just enjoy your party. Dad said. On his dad's word, Jake put his doubts aside, smiled, and asked his mother what she made for dinner. After accepting congratulations from everyone and eating 3 full plates, he tried to make eye contact with his dad. Once he caught his gaze, he motioned toward the house. Jake got up and walked away from everyone else, meeting his dad away from the group. I thought you had to be 12 to 14 to go to the Alpha or one of the Beta academies, Jake asked. You've been brought in on a special waiver by one of the coaches at Alpha. Why would they do that? Jake, you're on par with the smartest heroes I've ever met. Your strength, your toughness, your speed, your other powers. He paused before continuing. You have the complete package of brains and power to be something really great. If I were a gambling man, I'd put money on them waiting for you to mature. Jake looked at him funny, then said, They think I wasn't mature enough at 12 to attend Alpha? Dad laughed and said, For someone so smart, you sometimes don't look at the whole picture. All the leaders of the great teams were a few years older than the other team members. Jake froze for a moment as the thought sunk in. Dad has never steered me wrong or got my hopes up before, he thought. Dad, do you think I could lead a team? Jake, I think you could do whatever you put your mind to, Dad said as he ushered him back to the others. I wonder if I'm the first Mormon kid to go to Alpha. Do you think I get to come home on Sunday? Jake's dad laughed and answered all his questions by saying, I think you'll have to ask those questions once you get there. When does the school year at the academy start? Jake asked. August 6th is your first official school day, but they said you'll be picked up the morning of July 29th. Jake looked hurt and said, That's in less than 2 weeks. I thought they would give me more notice before class starts. Maybe the decision as to who would go wasn't easy and it took some thought. Whatever it was, let's make the most of these 2 weeks before you go.